Welcome to Sexy Sunday, where we analyze sex scenes from films and TV shows, discuss what they tell us about the story, the characters, and more importantly, whether they're hot or not. I'm Jessica.
I'm Anushka.
And this is Sexy Sunday.
Today we're talking about Normal People and Conversations with Friends, two TV shows based off Sally Rooney's novels. Normal People came out in 2020 and Conversations with Friends came out in 2022. And Normal People, I counted 13 sex scenes in 12 episodes. Yeah.
I was going to go for like 20.
Oh, okay. No, not quite that many. And Conversations with Friends, I counted. Do you want to guess?
Well, there's two full sex scenes, I think, and then there's like 5 almost sex scenes. So I'll get 5.
6.
Hey!
12 episodes. Yeah, very well.
I'm getting back in the groove of this.
Very, very good. I'm going to cough my lungs out the entire time because I have COVID. Jess has hay fever. She's good. We're doing very well. Do you want to start with like Conversations with Friends and then get into Normal People?
There's not a lot to talk about with Conversations with Friends, or as you called it, which made me laugh so much, Conversations with Annoying Friends.
And also, I'm sorry, but why is it called Conversations with Friends? There are not friends, and there are no conversations. It's literally a show about people looking at each other in silence.
That's a good point, actually. I feel like her titles are quite aloof, like her characters. They are just like long, lingering looks and like broken conversations.
Want my money back. I was promised some conversations and some friendship.
We got neither.
We got neither. All of my notes are just me being like, I fucking hate Francis.
I mean, we guess we can start with Francis.
We can start with the fact Francis is the worst, and I'm so sick of characters who are the worst and we're supposed to like them just because it's like, oh my god, so great that we don't see perfect girls on TV anymore. It's like, yeah, okay, I still want to enjoy people that I'm like, I don't want to watch people I hate.
Exactly. It's like, yeah, that's so good that we're not seeing these like pretty perfect, always like the good girls, but also like put some likable qualities into your characters, especially a character that we're meant to root for.
Yeah. And it's some kind of charisma. I don't know, like Frances is just like acting all innocent when she's banging the married guy, but she's acting as if like she doesn't even know what sex is most of the time. It's just like no one's buying it and it's boring.
No, exactly. I think they did do like something they did do well with Frances was like she was meant to be quite plain. And she actually looks plain.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, can we not have a character who is flawed, but also, like, learns how to communicate their needs properly? And is honest with people who are supposedly their friends? Because you're also, like, meant to root for her. And then she goes on this, like, whole thing of, like, this escapade with Nick. And then keeping it from Bobby, who's supposedly her best friend, and then is just like kind of a dick to Nick in the end, and then calls whatever her face is
Melissa.
Yeah, Melissa. And then Melissa rightfully. I'm wondering, because you said that Melissa was a saving grace for you, and I'm wondering that conversation that they have on the phone, was that part of the saving grace that Melissa was for you?
I can't remember the conversation, what is it?
When Frances calls her up and it's after...
Oh, when she's like, why did you show Bobby my article? Yeah, I think I was hoping I would like her because I like the actress usually.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think she's just... Her character was annoying, but I think she was the least annoying one. Like, I think the thing that annoyed me about her was I don't really get why is she staying with Nick. Like, if she's cheating on him and he's cheating on her, And why is she more willing to be like, okay, we can share Nick, than just be like, you know what, maybe this isn't working out. But then I guess when you've been married for a while, I don't know, maybe that makes sense. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't like it when she says to Francis, "You're always making me feel pathetic and conventional," or whatever. Because it's like, I'm so bored of people being like, "Oh my god, being normal is so like not okay." It's like, who gives a shit if you're married to a guy? Like, no one cares. Literally, no one cares. It doesn't make you any cooler if you are married to anyone else. Like, it's just, you're either cool or you're not. Like, it's
Yeah.
not because you're conventional that you're not cool. You can be conventional and way cooler than people who aren't conventional and are super fucking boring. Like, it's so
Yeah.
stupid. But the entire writing is like this, so I'm not surprised that the character says this. But yeah, I think she was the only one where I was like, you're really getting fucked over. And yeah, you cheated on him as well, which is not very nice, but we're not seeing it, so I don't really care about that. I care about what I'm seeing, which is Francis being a total conniving dickhead in front of you,
Yeah.
and your husband not saying any word ever and still managing to like get with everyone, which is just like, why are people get like, sure, it's cute, but it's not. I mean, I don't know, there's a point where there needs to be a little bit more.
Yeah, and I feel like it's symptomatic as well of just like, I guess, movies and TV shows in general. But like, when Nick and Francis like first get together, I don't see the chemistry. I don't
Oh, not at all.
get it. I just don't see the appeal for either of them. And then Nick as a
No.
character is just so pathetic. Like,
And also, they text back immediately.
yes!
And that doesn't happen. People are busy. People have lives. Nick's an actor. Why is he never working? Why is he always on his phone? He's married and has a job. That makes no sense that he would be texting Francis like instantly, as soon before he's even done reading her text. He's already replying.
Yes! And like, it felt so weird because it felt like they'd done so much to kind of show the realities or like the realness of texting. Like, I really enjoyed that you'd see her like fully typing out the text, sometimes getting
me
it
too,
wrong.
yeah.
But then it kind of you'd get the text straight back and you're like, but you wouldn't.
No. Yeah, I thought they had no chemistry at all. Also, I don't understand why Bobby keeps on being like, "Oh, Nick is such a boring person," but she's best friends with Francis. Francis is even more boring than Nick, in my opinion.
Yeah. And it sort of also with Francis's character just being so like dull, and yet she writes a lot, and like they have this kind of duo of the spoken word. It just doesn't kind of fit with her personality, but I wonder if it's just to like showing her two sides or whatever, or like showing who she is with Bobby when she's with Bobby versus when she's with Nick.
Yeah, maybe.
What, like the first full sex scene when we see Nick and Francis. What do you think of it?
So, I think the sex scenes are identical to the sex scenes that we have in Normal People, but without the chemistry. So just boring. Because it's basically just missionary people staring at each other's eyes.
Yeah.
And, you know, whatever rocks your boat. But it's not really the most riveting thing to watch. I feel like they could have cut it shorter and I still would have gotten the gist.
I guess so. But I
Because
feel like...
you thought I was going to hate it. Like, you were like, you're going to absolutely hate this sex scene, and I was really getting ready for it, so I guess I wasn't too traumatized because I was expecting something worse.
Oh, I see. Because I thought that it was really
No.
tender.
No. Side note, last time I was playing ping pong with my friend, and he said that word to throw me off, and I played terribly after, and I blame you for this. You've revealed my secrets and my weaknesses to the world.
I would say I'm sorry, but I'm really not. It's just too much fun. And that's all I could think. Like, when he was, like, going down on her, I was like, this is a very loving sex scene. And I was like, I think because there was like a lot of eye gazing, and I know that that's something that you don't like.
No, I don't. I didn't like it, but I guess I was a bit. I think I was expecting something to the levels of Isaac and Maeve in Sex Education, and it was more like,
Oh,
okay, this is just a bit long and
yeah.
uneventful.
Yeah, I felt like it went on for too long. Like I felt at a certain point I was like, all right, I think we've got the point now.
Exactly.
Like I don't need to see anymore.
I just didn't think it was necessary.
Yeah. No, I agree with you there. And then even like, because obviously her and Bobby have this like previous chemistry from their like relationship, but then I also kind of I really liked them together because I think that worked, but at the same time, the build up to them then suddenly getting together.
Mm.
I don't know if it's just because Francis doesn't exude any charisma where you're like, why would anyone?
Why would anyone want it? Like, I don't get it. I thought it would have been good to see the sex that she had with the Tinder guy, because they could have had an opportunity to make it very different to the sex that she has with Nick. And then that would have been like, okay, this is why we have to endure the sex she has with Nick, is because they're trying to show us a comparison.
Yeah, definitely. Like there were so many opportunities where I think they could have shown, because they showed a lot of kissing, like up close kissing, and then it would just cut to them after sex, and I was like, this kind of feels like they should be showing a little bit more, like that to show their intimacy. But I guess you get a lot of intimacy from their kissing. But I do like agree with you. It kind of felt weird that they didn't show that disconnect with the Tinder guy, because I was like, that would have been your perfect opportunity to kind of show.
Yeah, it would have been like in Normal People when Marianne sleeps with Jamie, and it's very different to when she sleeps with Connell. That would have been interesting. But again, like I said about Francis and the Tinder date, I think we should have seen Melissa and Nick having sex, and again, that would have been a great opportunity to see what is it like, and is it like, are they close? Do they have chemistry? Do they is there still something there? Because their relationship is obviously so fucked up. Like, it's very confusing. It's not very straightforward.
That's so true, because they do have sex during the time that
that Francis and Nick are seeing each other.
exactly.
And obviously, coming from Normal People, I guess everyone thought this was going to be another very sex-y show. And it wasn't. Like, at least they didn't, like, put too many sex scenes in it that wouldn't have been necessary, I don't think. But I think they actually should have put more necessary ones.
Yeah.
So, that's my review. Not enough sex, too many silences between people.
Too many long stares.
Too many long stares.
Long stares with friends. I'll stop now, but I won't really.
No, please don't.
Yeah, I think that she went too much, like, with Conversations with Friends, it was like a deeper level of Francis, but like of Marianne, but a more detached Marianne.
Yeah, and way less likable and relatable.
Yes, I think like we're watching, like, reading it and watching it. It's like when I was in my teens, like late 20s, or early 20s even, I would have wanted to be like a Marianne or a Francis, where it was like I could be so mysterious and aloof, and like guys would want me, but I just like keep them at a distance. When in reality, I was just like very anxious and like very low self-worth. So I was like, any boy likes me, I am attached to you now. So it was like that. I think watching, like, consuming these sorts of stories, it like kind of triggers that like blast to the past, whereby I actually wish I was like, I'm glad I'm no longer in that state of mind. But it's really funny to get annoyed by this like kind of character and be like, actually I'm really glad.
But also, isn't that exactly what they're like?
Well, they do get but they get attached in a different way, because they just like push anyone away.
Do they? Like, I feel like Marianne is constantly telling Connell, I'll do anything for you, and the only reason she pushes him away is because he pretends he doesn't know her, and then like invites another girl to prom. And the other one, she doesn't ever push Nick away. She's only mad when he's like, oh, by the way, I had sex with my wife. And she's like, how dare you have sex with the person you're married to? Like, I feel like they're not pushing anyone away. And I feel like Frances literally falls in love with the first guy who's like giving her a word. And Marianne is literally dating absolutely anyone she kisses. Like, I feel like they're completely being like, oh my god, someone gives me attention. I'm in love now.
That actually, no, you make a really good point there. Because yeah, especially with Marianne, it's like when she realizes she's not like the ugly misfit at school, then it's like any guy who will. She doesn't stay single for long. She's like
No.
any guy.
I have questions about normal people.
Firstly, why?
Well, I mean, did you like the show?
As an adaptation, I really enjoyed it because I felt like it stuck really well to the original source material, and like I felt the chemistry between the two characters because it's so much that they have this like insatiable quality for each other, but they can't quite make it work, and I think that really came across, and it really felt between the two actors that they had really good chemistry. So I would say did enjoy it as an adaptation. I didn't enjoy it as watching, like I had to watch it in bits because firstly it's really dark and emotionally draining, and Marianne is so infuriating.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
Well, when I watched it when it came out, I enjoyed it at first, and then I didn't really like it in the end. And when we decided to do the podcast about it, and I was going to rewatch it, I was like, I know I don't like it, but when I started watching it, I was like, oh no, I do like it. It's good. Why don't I like it? And then about like halfway through, I was like, oh no, that's why I don't like it. Just find it really difficult to like root for them because yeah, they've got great chemistry, but they just keep on not being together for stupid reasons, and I have no time for that. I literally find it so boring watching people who could be together, who want to be together, and who are not together. I'm like, that's your problem. I'm not interested anymore.
That's your problem. You deal with it off screen.
You deal with it off screen. Yeah, exactly. Because I'm sorry, but their level of back and forth and wanting to be together but we can't is literally Chuck and Blair from Gossip Girl. It's no better than this. I don't care about the fact that it's like better writing and like like with really nice shots. It's literally at that level of this is fucking boring. When they're at uni, like when they're at school and they're not together because Connell is like, my popularity will suffer. Yeah, it's ridiculous and it's really bad and blah blah, but I get it. He's a young teenager.
Yeah.
Those kind of things make sense. Whether they're stupid or not, doesn't matter. It works. I get it. But when they're at uni and they're literally basically dating and Connell just can't bring himself to be like, yeah, we're together. And then they fucking do not explain to each other what they want and they break up because of a misunderstanding. I'm sorry, but at this point, it's like, I'm done rooting for you. I don't care whether you're together or not. You don't deserve to be together. You're not trying hard enough. Like, misunderstandings are not a fucking reason to break up if you want to be together. That means you don't want to be together if you do. Like, I'm sorry, but it's stupid. Me and my husband misunderstand each other 7 times a day. If we were to break up every time we did, we wouldn't have never gotten married in the first place. Like, it's completely stupid. You're a fucking human being. You don't act like this.
Yeah, but I thought it was also like with Marianne not wanting to be in it. Like I thought when they were at uni, I thought it was also that Marianne. It was sort of like for her, it was her losing her social standing, or did I misunderstand it because they didn't?
Well, you guys should break up.
Break up with the show.
I mean, I know what you mean when her friend, when Jamie is like, is he clever? Which is such an old shit. I think because she's not afraid of being like, he's the most clever person I've ever met or whatever. I don't think it is that because she's not, and she's the one who tells him like, why are you never touching me in public and things. So I don't think it is that. I think it's just Connell's an idiot, Marianne's an idiot. They're both idiots, and I'm sorry, idiots do not deserve happiness. In my word.
I mean, I do agree that like when it gets to uni, it's like, guys, this is your opportunity to like show each other that you can be together. Why are you not taking this opportunity to like actually be together?
No. And I think that's a me problem, but the idea of, oh no, but there are reasons, they're really complex. I'm just like, well, that's great, but I find it boring, sorry.
Yeah. And I like part of it obviously does move the plot along because they've both got like deep seated issues. But it just like it's really frustrating to watch because you know that the whole show is centered around their relationship. And this is episode 6 or something of 12. When you're like, well, there's going to be more episodes where they come and like get back together. But it just felt like, oh, look, things are going nice. Oh, wait, we got it's like the Gossip Girl syndrome, or like the kind of CW shows where it's like, characters can't have nice things happen.
Drama all the time.
Exactly, and like, Marianne and like Connell are just pure drama the whole time.
Yeah, sorry, I can just imagine people being super offended that we keep on comparing normal people to Gossip Girl. Like, obviously, we know it's not the same.
We do. In no way. Like, I mean, it's a show about teens. Well, I guess they're like
older teens, but I guess in Gossip Girl,
they also go to college.
They also get exactly,
and become adults.
Like, why would people want that as their ideal relationship?
Yeah, I guess again, it's because their sex life is like they seem to have such good sexual chemistry.
Do you think? See, I think they've got really good chemistry, but I think their sex is super boring.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Like, even that time when they come back, I guess, because when they come back together later in the series, and they just like seem to be sweating all over each other. That to me seemed really hot, and he's like, that's when you see his dick afterwards.
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong, I don't think they seem to have bad sex, but the sex they have, which is the biggest note I have, and it's the same as with Conversations with Friends, where I think they've not utilized the sex like they could have done. There's no evolution. We see them having sex from the age of 17 to the age of, 25, and they still have sex in the same way. They still do the same position. There's almost nothing ever new. The only thing that changes is the time Marianne is on a, like, BDSM, low self-esteem rampage, and she's like, and so they're having sex a bit differently, and then obviously it's cut short because she's like, hit me or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, which is clearly not the kind of sex they actually have, because they never have sex like this. They had sex like this because Marianne initiated it like this for all the wrong reasons.
Yeah.
And then I read, because I was researching it, because I was like, did they seriously get these people to have sex for however many years exactly the same with no evolution whatsoever? We see so many of their sex scenes. That was an amazing opportunity to show us some kind of evolution. Like, I'm so disappointed. And I looked it up, and someone was like, yeah, obviously by the end they've got like some BDSM elements like put into it for Marianne, and I was like, when? So I looked it up, and that's the scene that you're talking about where they're really sweaty. It's like, because he's on top and he's not even holding her arms above her head. She just has her arms above her head, but he's not like restraining her or anything. No. And then she's on top, like she's always on top, like, or very often. That's not really a massive difference with what they usually do.
And I did pick up, like, now you said that, I did pick up on the fact that her arms were like that. Yeah. Oh yeah, not video podcast, arms above her head. But it seemed like that was more for her to feel like she was in that position, because she must have derived some sort of pleasure, even though
for sure.
With Jamie. Something, I know this is a bit of a tangent, but like something I did really enjoy with like comparison of sex with Jamie and with Connell, was that with Connell it's like this intimacy is shown by like the fact that they're always naked around each other. And then with Jamie, the sex scene we see, they're fully clothed.
Yeah.
And it's just like, I really enjoy how you see that
I agree.
disconnect.
I thought that Jamie sex scene was really good to show as a comparison. That's why I was expecting something like that with Conversations with Friends. Like, they're not facing each other. They're wearing clothes. You can tell there's no chemistry there. She's not as into it. It was a really good use of a sex scene. I feel like the sexiest sex scene is the one that Connell has with Helen.
That was really hot, actually.
Like, it looks so alive.
But I guess because Marianne herself is so passive.
Yeah. But I feel like you can be passive and the other one can, because she likes to be dominated, except that's not Connell's vibe. So it's just both of them just rubbing against each other passively. Like, whereas I feel like with Helen, there was movement, there was action, there were things going on. I was like, oh wait, this is hot. This is the only hot sex scene, in my opinion, in the entire show.
You do make a really good point there, because I did notice how that she was leading a lot more in the sex scenes, and I think Connell needs that because he's a very sensitive soul, and quite, again, she likes writing both passive men and women, but Connell is different to Nick in many ways.
Yes.
He's likable one.
Yes, yeah. We love Connell for sure.
Yeah.
Even if he's annoying.
But you're so right, they could have shown some sort of evolution in their sex. But I think it also fits in with their relationship, because Marianne is constantly like, I'll do anything for you. I'll be anything you want me to be. I'll do anything you want me to do. Like, we never see her grow into her own character. Or her
we
own
do
self.
At the end, don't we? Because when she's like, I'm happy here, I want to stay here, you go to New York, I guess before she would have been like, yeah, okay, I'll come with you. Because she would have been like, I'll do whatever you want.
Yeah, I guess so. But you still don't see that point of growth for her. I think that's kind of what annoys me about both her and Frances, is they seem to have these moments of big growth, but off screen. And without they just pop out of nowhere, which I suppose that's how some growth happens sometimes. But it just feels like, oh, they've reached this new pinnacle of themselves, but they're still extremely broken.
The first time Connell and Marianne have sex, first of all, I love that she keeps on asking, can we get our clothes off?
I made a note of that.
Yeah, that's great. But the first time they have sex, I love the fact that it's so awkward when he takes off her brassiere. Also, brassieres are impossible to take off, and that says a lot about Marianne, in a good way, that she didn't think it through. No one who's got any kind of experience or thinks about those kind of things would put a brassiere on before going to have sex with a guy.
Yeah. You mean like a bralette? Or
yeah, is that what you call them in English? Sorry.
Yeah.
Also, it takes the longest time to look at her boobs for the first time, which I think is in character for Connell, but is not in character for any 16 or 17-year-old boy ever. I know he's seen boobs before, but still.
Yeah, but it's also Connell is just very uncomfortable in his own skin.
Yeah, but they're still because they're still fully naked next to in front of each other. It's kind of, it's not like they're under the cover straight away covering themselves up, so they're not really having a look, they're literally in full light. It's just take a peek. I think the scene when they're at uni and she breaks up with her boyfriend whose name escapes me, and they go to the party, and her and Connell, she kisses Connell, and she's like, I want to have sex, and he says, not tonight, you're wasted. Yeah. I thought that was hotter than their sex scenes. I don't know if it's just because he was saying no to her. Was
that
and that was a bit of a turn on, but I thought there was more sexual charge between them in that. There was more active sexual charges between them in that scene than when they're actually having sex.
I also feel like when they're having sex, it's sort of always this very tentative thing where you're trying to enjoy it, but at any moment one of them could ruin it.
Yeah, exactly. When they're in Italy, first of all, who the fuck thought inviting Jamie and Connell and Niall was a good idea when they're on her holiday with Jamie? That's just fucking dumb. But I absolutely love when she breaks up with Jamie and she's like, can I sleep in your room? And obviously Connell has his girlfriend and he's like, yeah, the bed's big. And it's like, are you gonna call your girlfriend and be like, oh, by the way, my ex slept in my bed, but don't worry, the bed's really big. Oh, by the way, I had sex with Marianne, but don't worry, the bed was really big. Oh, thank God. Do you think the actors, and obviously I don't know about the actors' personal lives, but let's assume that they've never had sex in real life, because that seems to be the consensus. Do you think they feel like they have?
What, had sex with
each other?
I wonder.
Because obviously, yeah, there's an intimacy coordinator who's telling them, like, you know, be like this to make sure that they're not acting the way they would personally act during sex scenes. So it's not like they know what each other would actually be like. But ultimately, there's only that many different sounds, faces, whatever that you can make when having sex. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's not like, oh my god, I act like a fish in that scene, when actually in real life I act like a snake. Like, it's not, do you know what I mean? Like, because I know that intimacy, this is not just me having a stroke.
Sex and how does the snake have sex?
I know that intimacy coordinators usually use animals and like show animal videos to be like, okay, in this one you're a snake, you're quite like moving kind of like a snake moves, or in this one you're a monkey and you're moving that way, which is where exactly which is where my references come from, not me personally thinking having sex like a fish is a normal thing to do. But yeah, so obviously they'll be acting differently, and 100% there's like a full crew around them. Like, they're not. I know that sex scenes are the least sexy thing, and you definitely don't feel like you're having sex in that sense. But their sex scenes are so intimate.
Yeah.
That I still wonder, like, ultimately, if you're just gonna grind against each other, pretend to be like, you know, heavy breathing, staring at each other's faces, like with your noses touching, you must feel quite close to the person in a similar way than you do when you have sex with someone.
Exactly, especially like when it's like when they have sex, when she's like after her thing with the guy from Sweden and he's taking her from behind and they're like fully naked and you see that shot. I wonder also if they would have had sex at some point, just to be like, well,
let's get it out of the way.
Exactly. Let's get this awkwardness out of the way, because we've got to like have sex on screen.
Maybe it was in their contract that they couldn't, so the sexual tension could stay real.
And I wonder if they like how it feels to just like bump up against each other, especially for the guy. I wonder if he accidentally gets boners.
Oh yeah, I think that's something that happens really often. So they have like various things that they put in between. So obviously, even when they're completely naked, they're not actually grinding against each other completely naked. They've got like socks that you put. It's not an actual sock, but it's basically like a sock, and you put your dick in it and your balls in it, and it's like a nice little package thing. And then
nice little purse for your genitals.
And then with Bridgerton, they were actually saying that there was like a 3-layer rule, so there's always 3 layers between genitals, or between one genital and whatever else it's touching. And they've started using this thing, which I don't know whether they did that on normal people, because that was in the last season of Bridgerton that they started using that. It's like a semi-inflated ball, and they put it basically against the penis so that there's even more space between, and you can't see it at all with like the angles that they're shooting at and stuff, but it means that if the guy does get a boner, which I think happens quite often, just because I mean it can not happen because of the situation, which is really not sexy, but ultimately it's going to be a physical response, just your penis getting stimulated, so that way there's like no way the girl can even feel it at all. And yeah,
I wonder then if that all those like tools and stuff just make it so much more clinical that you just kind of disconnect completely from
100%.
Yeah, it'd be so interesting. This is why we need to get people on to ask them, because it would be so interesting to know what their experience is.
Yeah, definitely, because that's, I mean, that, as you know, that's something I'm very interested in, intimacy coordination. And when, like, even when I directed a sex scene that was like it wasn't really a sex scene, it was more like a makeout session, wasn't it? Like, it's not, there was no nudity and it was like whatever, but even doing that, we choreographed it so tightly that to make sure that it becomes really robotic and clinical, so that there's no confusion. Like, it's just like when you're having a fight scene, and obviously you're not gonna be like, okay, now fight, and it's like, well, someone's gonna end up being injured. Like, this is stupid. You know, you need to know exactly what the other actor is going to do, so you can react to it and
Yeah.
blah blah. Like it's exactly the same thing. So I know that on Normal People it wouldn't be an exception, and obviously it would have been very clinical and like you probably dissociate it from sex or whatever. But there are moments where, because those scenes are so long, I do wonder if it gets a bit like, I don't know, you still see each other naked and are like really close. Even not just the sex, but even the point where they're both completely naked and she's like he's resting his head on her leg or something. And it's
Yeah.
like, this is the kind of level of intimacy you don't usually get with coworkers. You know what I mean? So I wonder if, surely, maybe they don't feel like they've had sex, but surely they feel very different about each other than they do about other people they might have worked with, where in more normal, like,
Yeah.
do you know
Because
what I mean?
it's also like there's a lot of kissing scenes and a lot of like looking into each other's eyes scenes, and as you say, like that scene where they're like cuddling up together. That it's like it's a lot of intimacy with essentially
Exactly.
a co-worker.
So, what is your favorite sex scene in Conversations with Friends?
Actually, between Bobby and Francis, I really enjoyed that sex scene. I thought it was like well choreographed and like, yeah, hot. For you?
My favorite sex scene is the one between Nick and Melissa that I've invented. It's in my brain.
I thought you were about to say like none. Absolute none.
Because there are no real sex scenes that I can actually call my favorite. So yeah, it's really nice. You should see it. It's great.
Let me just go inside your head and watch all the
fictional sex scenes
exactly.
in there.
They're probably really raunchy.
It's right next to Jake and Rosa from Brooklyn Nine-Nine. What's your favorite sex scene in Normal People?
Actually, I was gonna be the one like that I was talking about where they're really sweaty, but since you mentioned the one with Helen, I actually like think that one would be. Is that gonna be your one? Have I stolen?
Yeah, definitely.
Sorry.
But that's okay. It's not like I don't own the copyright of that. It's not like Nick and Melissa where it's actually mine. This one.
It's my intellectual property.
So is it Nick and Ellen as well? Nick and Ellen, that's not their name. Connell and Helen.
You're just mixing up the. Oh, can you imagine Nick and Helen? No.
Oh my god, no. Like, Helen would lose it. She's already. Well, actually, I don't know. Is Nick more infuriating than Connell?
Yes.
I don't know. Do you think? I think that I like Connell better because he's got more redeemable qualities. He's more charismatic, not in a physical way, but just like in a personality.
Yeah.
But he's also saying what he means even less, I think. Although Nick's constantly like super short by text, and then really he's also like playing games.
I think with Connell, like I really enjoy that you see him going to counselling or therapy, and like see him opening up and like really trying to like get in touch with his emotional side. And I guess also Nick has gone to therapy.
Yeah,
but, like
you just don't see it, so it doesn't count.
Exactly. Could just be lies.
Because I feel like Helen was getting so frustrated, but mostly Helen was getting really jealous of Marianne, because Helen's the only person. You know what? Helen's my favorite character because Helen.
Justice for Helen.
Helen's the only person who calls Marianne out on her bullshit, not to her face, but says it to Connell when she's like, she likes drama, she loves the attention. It's so true. Like, oh my god, when they arrive at the funeral and Marianne, first of all, Connell's like not talking to his girlfriend, and then he sees Marianne and he's literally looking like the happiest person on earth to see her, which is like,
I
you
felt
should just
so bad for
fucking
Helen.
slap Helen in the face next time. That'll be faster.
Yeah.
And then he like goes and hugs Marianne, and the way Marianne strokes his neck, it's like his girlfriend is right here.
Yeah.
And you also made out in Italy, like. You shouldn't even be anywhere near each other. That's so or just fucking break up with her, but that's so disrespectful.
That is so true. I do feel really sorry for Helen because I'm like, she must have so many trust issues. Like, obviously she's a good character, but she must have so many trust issues.
I do feel really bad for her. And you know what? She doesn't deserve it at all from like what we see of her.
She deserves better. For
yeah.
Sure.
So how hot is Conversations with Friends?
-2.
-2. Yeah, same. I love
0
this.
isn't good enough.
We hadn't made it to the minuses yet. What about normal people?
See, I would say that like the sex scenes would on their own, like if you were to just watch this show through the sex scenes, I'd say it's like a 6. But the show as a whole, about a 3 or a 4. Just because the characters are so infuriating.
Well, I don't think the sex scenes are that hot anyway. I think they're really long. Like, they're very much like, I'm glad I was watching the show alone. But I don't think they're sexy sex scenes. So I would give it a 3, I think.
That's fair.
Cool. What are we talking about next time?
Are we going to talk about girls?
Yeah, let's do it. If you think you will have time to, like, watch the show.
How long are the episodes?
Half an hour.
I'll try.
Yeah, let's give it a go.
Cool.
See you next time.
See you next time.